Hello, I'm Geronimo. This is my radio voice, and you're listening to the Scene World podcast.
Hey, it's the Scene World podcast. I'm me, and he's Jurg, and this is the Scene World podcast. In a second, we'll be talking with Myrone.
Also known Patrick Lukens.
Yes, that, and Jurg will be talking with him because I had some things happen again, and I've missed the last the last three or
Yes.
four podcasts. Yeah, good lord.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that'll be in a couple of minutes. Before that, I suppose we have. I don't really. I got one bit of news, which is not
I
really
got
that
plenty.
exciting.
I got plenty.
Okay.
Start.
Oh, okay, mine. So the first bit that or the only bit really that I've got, if I can find the damn thing now, because I had it on my phone before and I didn't really copy it over here. Um, so we talked in was it the last podcast episode? We were talking about the Starlight edition of the Ultimate 64, the new C64 by Commodore.
Could be.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the one with the clear case, and I guess there's lights in it and stuff.
Hmm.
And one of the issues it has is it's got a flex in the keyboard.
Right.
So it's minor. If you don't type all that often, it's not, I guess it's not something you're going to notice. Um, the official word, I believe, is that the screws holding the keyboard in need to be tightened to a specific torque and in a very specific order, kind of like you're putting a tire on a car.
Right.
Um, since then, there are two solutions. One is by Jim Drew, has developed an official style brace um, that avoids contact points and provides stiffness without rubbing the traces or stressing the solder.
Hmm.
Um, and there's also a community design from Retro Frog that has it's multiple pieces and uses the existing case screws. And whilst it works well enough, I guess it can also put pressure where you don't want pressure in the thing.
Mm.
Um, so there is a video up on YouTube from Levi's Digital Voyage um, that kind of goes into these two different braces and which one you might want. So we'll put a link to that. We'll also put a link to where you can find the braces if you want to purchase one.
Not for your mouth though.
Not for your no. I don't think that'll work for that. That would be pretty unfortunate. Um, I like the Jim Drew's is pretty well designed. I like the way that
I know
looks.
he is a very good hardware designer.
Yes,
We
yeah,
had
we've
him on the
we've talked to
podcast
him.
before
Yeah,
for the keycaps. Right.
yeah. He does a lot of hardware stuff, and it's 3D printed, and it looks professionally designed. It's I would that's what I would lean towards. Um, but that's your results may vary. So we'll put a link to where all that stuff is, where you can check that
Or
out.
you
If he's
just
got
rescrew your screws.
Well, yeah, but even that, I don't think that helps with everyone. I'm looking at the Retro Frog one, and whilst it looks decent enough, it's got like the big difference that I see is that Jim Drew's is not symmetrical, right? It's a
Hmm.
brace, but it's built to fit and go around the stuff that you don't want it to touch. Whereas the Retro Frog one is just sort of a like a plastic cage that just kind of
Hmm.
sits there. It's just a big rectangle that doesn't take into consideration like the where the contacts are and where the solder points are and whatnot. So I like Jim Drew's design, but again, it's whatever you guys want to do. You might want to just try to design one yourself, or just try tightening the screws. I think it's also the fact that I guess that the keyboard on these things is not quite the same as on a 64. It's the especially on the Starlight edition, it's clear. You know, the actual board with the contacts and the traces is clear, and not like that C64, you know, that kind of orange particle board kind of thing that they use. So yeah, I guess in my head I was envisioning like the same sort of keyboard design as in the original 64, which is
which was a typewriter design, by the way.
Essentially, yes, it was.
Which actually was by Jack Tremula himself. He was.
Well, I'm not talking about the layout. I'm talking about like the actual like the underneath that because there's that kind of plastic metal bracket, and then there's the piece that goes into that underneath.
Right.
And that's not. I don't think that's what they really do with this. And I don't have a 64 Ultimate, so I can't really tell you exactly how that's put together. But I guess that what's in my head has not really been what it is doing.
Right.
So and that plastic, you know, I don't know if you. There's a story I tell occasionally. I had when I was younger, in like the 90s, I got the.
You were young in the 90s? Oh my god.
Yes, I was. Believe it or not, I got the Pink Floyd album, The Division Bell, which came out in '94. I got it on cassette, and the cassette was the plastic on the cassette was blue. It was a blue tape.
Right.
And that plastic was the shittiest, softest plastic. Like it was normal cassette tapes would have this hard kind of brittly kind of plastic. This thing was this soft garbage plastic that like broke. It would kind of, you know, it crumbled over time. I think I went through like three of those tapes because it kept like just degrading and falling apart.
Wow. So it was warping?
Yes, exactly. Yes. And there are some plastics that do that, especially, you know, like clear plastics can a lot of times be softer and not quite the same quality that you would have from like a you know, like that kind of, you know, beigey kind of thing.
But not always. I remember the D64 cases that were done again. They also have a clear version, and it's as stable as the non-clear versions.
Right. Yeah.
No problem there.
Yes, and there are ways around it. Like you can use acrylics and stuff like that. You know, that's pretty hard. But some plastics, you know, and I don't know why it is. I don't know what the engineering behind it is. But some are just not. They don't have that same kind of rigidness, and that's what
perhaps the engineer or the product designer of the tape shell had a soft spot.
Had a what?
A soft spot.
One more time. You broke up both times.
I mean, perhaps the product designer of the Pink Floyd cassette had a soft spot.
Oh, yeah. He did with the blue plastic, yeah.
The best jokes are those you have to repeat three times. Right?
I know, right? It cut out. It cut out exactly at the punchline both times.
And nobody will know it because in the local recording, everything is like
I'm like, is Descript trying to censor this? Is he saying something like so funny it's bad?
And we are not even using the Descript version of Squadcast.
Yeah,
You're using the classic.
The classic falling apart, held together with masking tape version of Squadcast.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, they didn't probe it further since last time.
We'll see.
So I guess we are lucky.
Works. Every fucking time I edit this, it's like something doesn't work. Something is fucked up every goddamn time.
But there's always a backup that works. So it's like it's not too broken, so you don't have a working recording.
Right. Yes.
It's just not broken enough.
Yeah. Always something will be there. I think there was even a time when the cloud recording was fucked up, but then one of the other recordings was not. So it's like, well, I can still rebuild it from that.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like AI driven. Like, hey, I fucked up the cloud recording, so I make at least sure the local recording is fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just, oh my god, it's so infuriating at this point.
I know.
Anyway, so that's the news that I have. The two different braces, and we'll put links to the video where Levi's digital voyage goes over them, and we'll also put
Nice.
the links to each of those different braces so you can check them out yourselves.
Nice. All right. First part is I received an email from Caroline Cocciardi, and she has done a homepage about Leonardo da Vinci celebrate Milan Olympics 2026. And she wants that we mention this because she has a homepage called Leonardo's Knots to focus on the knots designs Leonardo da Vinci did and what a genius he was. And she wants to help awareness of his genius with this Leonardo Knots video she put on YouTube and homepage she put up. I don't know what we have to do with Leonardo's Knots, but there you go.
What's the URL for that?
leonardosknots.org.
Oh, okay, that's pretty easy. Oh, all right. So we're actually talking about knots.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I thought we were talking about like his notebooks where he would like write down blueprints for, impractical helicopters and things like that.
Nope.
But that's okay. So these are actual knots. Oh, okay, cool. Nice. So they are, yeah. So yeah, Carolyn Cocciardi, the author of Leonardo's Knots, and her team have restored the Room of Knots using digital techniques, bringing it back to its original splendor when Leonardo completed it in 1498.
At least you pronounced her the same way I did.
Did I?
So if it's wrong, it's not my fault.
See, this is actually pretty. This is something that I don't know that necessarily has anything to do with us specifically.
I don't know why she emailed me.
It's the sort of thing that this is the sort of thing that I am really, really fascinated by.
So perhaps that is why she emailed it to us.
I doubt she has any idea that who I am. Compared to whether this is the sort of thing that I find cool, but yeah. That is pretty. The mission is to unveil a previously unknown fresco, the Room of Knots. So I guess that has been covered for 500 years. It's been hidden. So that is actually really, really cool. I like this a lot. We'll put a link to that.
I will let her know that we covered it.
Yeah.
Because she was like, please share this with your followers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I'll share this on my Twitter and stuff too, because it's really, really interesting.
Woo! So Caroline, you got HA there.
Yeah.
Even though I have no idea what it has to do with tech.
Well, it doesn't need to have to do with tech. And if it's someone that that we know that's cool, that's we don't just cover the. I mean, we're all over the place. We don't just cover retro tech.
Looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's actually really, really interesting.
Right. Anyway, so now let's come to the real deal. I guess you have heard about Mega Man.
I am familiar with the Mega Man IP. Yes.
Right, which actually in Japan is called Rocket Man, for whatever reason. Yeah, I know.
But he doesn't have rockets.
I have no idea.
He runs around. He's got a gun for an arm, but he doesn't have rockets at all. He just runs around. If he had rockets, I could have gotten past fucking Skyland or whatever the hell it was in Mega Man 3 on my first shot, rather than struggling with that goddamn thing because I kept falling down into nothingness.
I mean, perhaps they thought it's sounding cooler for that audience.
Rocket Man.
No idea. Yeah.
Rocket Man. Rocket Man is an Elton John song.
Or
it's not about rockets.
Or a North Korean dictator.
Well, that's the That's the nickname given a North Korean dictator by an orange man that loves him very much.
I know.
So I don't know if I want to call him that. That's a little too cool of a nickname for that guy.
Well, I mean, they are friends officially, aren't they?
Oh yes, they are friends.
I can see.
And
why.
as we go to war with the entire world, we're going to need all the friends we have that we can get.
That's true. I mean, at least North Korea is very good at weapon development.
Are
Better
they? I
than-
thought all their shit fell apart and it malfunctioned.
No, that was Russia.
That was North Korea too. They they went to demonstrate some of their missiles and it like went off course and like crashed in the ocean or something.
Don't remember that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mega Man. So the creator and his studio called Concept,
Yeah.
who made the pretty much failed release of Mega Man from the creator of Mega Man called Mighty Number 9, because I guess he didn't have the IP to make his own Mega Man game, so he called it
Right.
Mighty Number 9. Anyway, it was a disaster of a release. And now Concept, the studio behind that game, closed. Shut down.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah. And we are going on with that topic, unfortunately. Nacon, who is one of the biggest French publishers, has announced that it has filed on February 25th for insolvency
Okay.
and is requesting the initiation of judicial reorganization of proceedings. And Nacon is known for big IPs like RoboCop. They did the last test drive, Solar Crown. That was an absolute disaster and flop.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know why so many publishers are having a bad hand on racing games lately, but I don't know.
I don't know. Well, it's one of those things where, there is a saturation of racing games. That is, I think, kind of part of it, which is that there are so many really high end racing games out there that when you put one out that doesn't quite match up, when you put one out that's not quite there, where it snows inside the car, where
that was a bummer. I was like, holy shit, are they serious here?
Yeah, like if there weren't that many good racing games,
it was not snow, it was rain, but close enough.
When there are so many really good racing games, if there weren't that many, you could let a game get away with raining inside the car. You'd be like, whatever, because the rest of the game is good. But when there are so many really high end racing games out there already, and a lot of them not even new. Like, again, one of my favorite ever is Dirt 2, and that's from freaking 2012.
I know.
I mean, like there's.
But test drive, that's hard.
Right, but the thing is, like, you really need to bring something new and interesting in order to make the game worthwhile when there are so many other racing games out there which are really high end. So, when you do put out one that isn't quite there, or is essentially the same game as last year's or the other one you put out, then there's no incentive. I'm not going to pay $60 to download to buy a game that isn't as good as the one I've got from 10 years ago.
You are behind now. The standard price is 80, but never mind.
What's that?
80, not 60. 80.
Either way, it's just a number. It's just, it doesn't matter what the number. It could be 20 or 10. If the game is not as good as what is out there already, or it's just the same thing, I don't want to spend that kind of money for something that is not going to offer me anything new.
Yeah, the problem, however, with Test Drive Solar Crown was similar to Project Motor Racing. They released it half broken. The server didn't let people join, and which is actually bad because it has it has yeah, it has online DRM. That means
Right.
even
Right.
even despite it's a single player game, you need to be online all the time.
Yeah.
And if you are having an IP like Test Drive, which is one of the first person racing games, I mean, it was released on the Commodore 64 '87. It's one of the earliest, and you are putting the game with an online DRM and not having enough capacity for your servers.
Right.
Can that be actually apologized nowadays anymore?
Yeah.
They didn't plan ahead, I don't
No,
know.
they did not.
That's totally wow. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Hey! My
yeah,
these Bluetooth headset is about to the battery's about to die. It's
okay.
beeping in my ear. I need to switch over. I don't know if we have to stop recording to do that because I got to switch over
Nah,
to my other headset.
probably better not. Otherwise,
Okay, switch. Then can you switch me over? Because I can't change my my headset.
oh, let's see if I can. Let's see. Let's
Oh,
try.
actually, it's on default. Maybe I can change my default. Let's see what happens if I do that. Plop. Okay, I think I did it. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
Let me just make sure that I did it.
Perfect.
I can hear you. Okay. Wow, that's the most seamless change.
That's almost looks like you only changed the color.
Yeah, yeah. We'll cut that
Awesome.
out. Just what the headset just changes on my head as as we're talking.
I can do that.
The
Actually,
I can guarantee you though, the audio on this is going to be fucked up in some way.
I
I don't,
know it's
I
like.
don't know how. I don't know why, but it will be.
So you're not using your other microphone anymore.
I should be using that.
Then you have to move closer because you're cutting
I
out.
should be. Am I still there?
Yeah, but you make it closer to your mouth again because you're
I,
starting to
I,
cut out.
I literally cannot make it closer to my mouth. My nose will run into it.
No, just saying you cut it out. Anyway, never mind.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good luck to them. It would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
not good to lose IPs like RoboCop and Test Drive. Just saying.
I concur.
Yeah.
I yeah. I think I feel like somebody else might jump up on the RoboCop, but yeah, but Test
Yeah.
Drive is kind of a yeah.
I mean, Nakra just bought the IP a while ago, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, we spoke to Ross Scott from the Stop Killing Games
Stop
initiative.
killing games. That's right.
Right?
Yes.
And they had a press conference recently in Brussels.
Mm-hmm.
Big thing, big thing. And he posted a giant Stop Killing Games update video that we will link to.
I thought that Ross had left the Stop Killing Games thing,
Nope.
or
Nope.
had wrapped up or something.
Nope.
Because I thought at the time that when we were releasing it, we were like, oh, he's already done with that. Like,
Nope. He
Huh.
changed his mind. But
Oh,
you're right.
good,
During
good.
the interview, he was like thinking about taking it slow.
Right? Yeah. Because
But
I remember.
But now that it was so successful, he is back at it full force.
That's great. That's excellent. Yes, because that is an important thing.
I mean, Brussels is big, That is where the European Parliament is and stuff.
And there's I don't know. I don't really remember everything that we talked about in that interview, but
me neither.
But the Stop Killing Games from there is the standpoint of like, people are going to want to play these games in the future and you're not going to be able to. But also there's an angle of it which strikes me, which is more the so games are essentially storytelling, just like TV, movies, books, stuff like that. All this stuff is plays and whatever. They're all ways of telling a story. They're all different ways. You're sitting around a campfire and telling stories. And there are preservation methods for a lot of these for movies and books and television, but games don't have that. And the stories that they are telling for a game that you can't play anymore because EA took their fucking servers down, that is lost once that happens. So putting in a fail safe, for lack of a better word, to keep these games operational, even just from a preservation standpoint, from keep hanging on to it, because it is a piece of it's a piece of art culturally,
Right.
regardless of whether
Right.
you want to, regardless of whether you want to argue that the Dying Breed's cutscenes are art or not. It's somebody put time and effort into that and built the story that the game conveys.
The end of the world is coming.
Right, exactly, or the end of the world, yeah. So it's so it is an important thing that I'm glad that he's still going on with it, because that is it is relevant and important.
And the next few news are about that. So Epic allowed the project Old Unreal to re-release and, well, fix the game Unreal Tournament 2004
Okay.
and make it available for free.
Cool.
Unreal Tournament 2004 was big back in the day.
Yeah,
It was the tournament game,
I remember
first person shooter ever.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that a company like Epic is giving it away for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, Epic was also the only company holding up against Apple, and they won in the end. So, as you know, the EU ruled that Apple has to allow third-party stores on their iPhones and iPad devices.
Yes.
So it's interesting that one of the big publishers actually supporting the cause of preservation games like that. It's actually good. Though from all the negative, we also should talk about the positive.
Yeah. No, I hope more developers start doing that, start recognizing that.
Well, it's about the publishers, not the developers.
Well, but there's also but there's also there is the Last Ninja of it, where where the publishers look at an IP that they have, and it comes down to, should we preserve this, or can we squeeze some more money out of it?
Yeah, I'm not sure where Last Ninja is there, to be honest.
Well, I feel like, I mean, we spoke to
Mark Cale.
Yeah, Mark Cale at the time, and it seemed to be more like there's a difference between Mark Cale and The Last Ninja, and how they handle their IP, and
Epic.
No. The other guy we talked to, same month.
You mean Adventure Revolution?
Yeah. Oh,
Revolution.
God.
Revolution.
What's the guy's name? Mother Christ. Jesus Christ. This is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
This is hang on.
Broken Sword.
Broken Sword. Yeah.
Charles Cecil. Right.
Yes.
Now
so there's a difference between how Mark Cale and The Last Ninja and Charles Cecil with the
Broken Sword.
Broken Sword, yeah, the Broken Sword series work, because Charles was, when fans wanted to make their own version of the game, 2.5, yeah. He said, yeah, go for it. Like, there was no he didn't discourage people from doing that. He didn't discourage the the scum people from you know kind of porting the older games into the scum VM. Whereas Charles Cecil was more concerned kind of with what can we do with
Wait,
the
no,
IP.
now that doesn't make sense because you mentioned Charles Cecil and Charles Cecil. No, you mean Mark Hale now.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, Mark Hale. Mark Hale, conversely, was more. Mark Hale conversely was more along the lines of what can we do with this IP that will bring in more revenue for the company? How can we've got the IP, no one's done anything with it for a while. Maybe we can re-release it. We could remaster it. We can put it out there and make something from that IP. And when we talked to him about like the other games and that, he was like, "Yeah, maybe we'll see." It came down to what could we get out of that, not not what can we do for the fans of the game and for the people that want to preserve this. That wasn't what he was worried about. It was how much, it was what they could do with the least amount of work to get a return from those existing IPs. So um so I hope that more, I would like for more companies to follow the example of Epic, and the companies that are doing something to let the older games still exist and function. And again, with Last Ninja, it's not really the preservation aspect of it isn't really that, because the game exists.
I
It
mean,
was
he
there.
mentioned it like 50 times that he's doing it because of preservation,
Right,
and
right,
I
right.
was like, yeah, I'm sure about
But
that.
the game exists on D64s and whatever. You can play it on your C64 or in an emulator. It's not like you need the back end of a server in order to play this game. That didn't exist when that was released. So so it's not really a one-to-one thing. In order to to allow someone to rebuild the back end for a game that requires a server is a different kind of like the altruism of letting the letting people and preservationists build this thing in order to keep it operational.
Which is
That is.
actually more like Broken Sword
Yeah, right, right,
because
right,
um, it wouldn't work on modern
right.
systems without it. But Charles Cecil's approach is also a bit like George Lucas. He made the version he wanted to do in 1996, but he couldn't because of technical limitations.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And there's also a people shit on, and I don't have a problem with that. I am perfectly. People shit on George Lucas for changing Star Wars, and I understand where they come from because Darth Vader yelling "No" while he throws the Emperor over the rail bothers me on a deep human level. But I understand why, because there are things that I wrote back in the 90s or early 2000s that I look back at it and I'm like, that doesn't represent what I think anymore. That's not what I wouldn't say that now,
Mm.
so and I have to fight myself not to go in, because I could just change the wording, it's easy enough, but I don't want to go and change something that was down. I kind of fight against that. Um, but there is something to be said for a game where you couldn't do it like that back then, and now you could. So and when we saw that too, there's a lot of that with Dave Lowe. When we talked to him, it was, you know he made all this music for the 64 and the Amiga and whatever, and
Yes.
what he heard in
Spectrum,
his head.
ZX, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what he heard in his head when he wrote the music is something he had to pare down to get it to work on these machines. And when he did a temporal shift, the album that we talked to him about, it was converting those to full orchestration, which is what existed in his mind when he developed it.
Right. Right.
But yeah,
Hmm.
back to you, Jörg.
Yeah. Well, we spoke about microprose before, which is
Yes.
interesting because that publisher was originally from UK, but was bought from Australian company. So now they are Australian, and they are following the roots of Microprose. So we mentioned before that the Formula One games, Grand Prix by Geoff Cremont, are re-released soon under a different name because he lost the license for being official Grand Prix games, Formula One games.
Right.
And now they announced more. They actually re-released the famous game F-22 Air Dominance Fighter on Steam that used to be released 1997. So they are going through their back catalog still, and that's also pretty amazing. I love that. They are re-releasing all those games from the 80s and 90s they were famous for. As you said in the Diving Breed review, Microprose, the publisher known for big manuals.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say, because Microprose, doesn't when I think of Microprose, I don't think of games. I think of those thick manuals that your dad would have at his computer. Same thing with like Broderbund. When I think of them, I don't think of games. I think of the print shop, or where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Like edutainment.
That was awesome.
Yeah, but it was edutainment. It wasn't a real game. It was learn some shit, kid.
It's one of the few games that actually made it to kids show all across the world, including Germany.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and rocketed
and the first thing that happened
and shot Rockapella to the top of the charts.
And the first thing that happened when the World Trade Center was attacked was actually somebody was using the game and making a version of it called Where in the World is Osama Bin Laden?
Yeah.
That was the first thing that happened.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my god, the demo scene is added again.
Yeah.
With an intro and shit. The whole game changed to, we have to find Osama.
I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
Okay, this has nothing to do with any of this. It just occurred to me. I don't know why this just occurred to me. Okay, so you and I are veterans of the Commodore 64 scene, and I'm
not me officially. I joined in the scene 1998. Not so much veteran.
Right? I'd say that's still veteran. Yes,
I joined April 1st, 1998. That was my official joining date.
And I'd say my official joining time was probably 92.
Okay.
So it's not that much different. But we've been around the scene, and I'm not going to specify which scene. I'm a demo scene guy. You're kind of he's all over
the place. Yeah, I know.
But so there was a thing when a cracking group in particular takes a piece of software and pirates that software and uploads it to a website. Now it used to be a BBS. That is a thing that is spelled WAREZ or Z for if you're outside of the US. How do you pronounce that?
WARZ?
WAREZ.
WAR. Wares.
Right. Wares. That's what I've always called it. Wares. With a Z. Wares.
Yes.
I was listening to a podcast the other day.
Yeah.
In which the person was talking about
Juarez
is how he repeatedly pronounced it. Juarez. And I was sitting in my car like, you mean wares? Fucking wares. Like, how can you be that stupid? And this is the guy that was saying...
It's like SNES?
Yeah, this is a guy... No, that's the... SNES, I can understand. SNES, I don't like SNES, but I understand where it came from. Juarez? Fucking wares. Wares. How could you not... And this is a guy that was saying that he came from... He spent his childhood in this sort of scene where people would post their Juarez. Their 0 to 1 day Juarez. What? What Juarez? Who calls it? If if any of you call it Juarez, you need to get in touch with me right now because it's wrong.
Mhm.
You need to check yourself.
Podcast@sceneworld.org. You're welcome.
If you call it Juarez, I'm coming to your house.
He's starting a virus with you.
Oh God.
Yeah.
He said it like probably like 8 or 9 times in this podcast, and every time I'm like, where's? It's where's, you idiot. Anyway,
so
what were we talking about?
Anyway, another news. Terminal
Yeah.
now made his Robonaut album available for free.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if that is a good move.
Why? Okay, what are the reasons that he is making it free?
He didn't tell.
He didn't specify. Okay.
He said the first ever virtual Game Boy music album released in 2024 is now available as digital download, pay as you want. Actually, all my music releases are free now. All his music releases are free now.
Okay. So I could understand the Virtual Boy one because there are not that many people with a Virtual Boy or that are interested in Virtual Boy that would be like, oh, hey, I got to get me some of that, So it's one of those things that I don't know how well it would sell on its own, but making it a kind of pay what you want gives people the option to check it out for free, and if they like it, and a lot of people will pay something for it because a lot of people want to support artists. That's an actual thing.
Right.
Doing it for all of his albums, I don't know what the reasoning behind that would go.
Too bad I already paid for them.
So did I. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, well, not really because I paid for them, but if I was going to download them, I probably would pay anyway. With the pay what you want, I would still pay. That's
anyway.
I like to support the people that are actually producing things, even though I will download, I will buy. If anyone puts out an album or a music download or whatever, I will absolutely buy that. But a lot of times I don't listen to it. I'll listen to it once and put it away. The only person whose stuff I listen to consistently, like in the car, is Nick Vivid, who has a new album out. You should really check it out.
I know. I'm always
and the thing is,
I'm always getting his cassette versions.
And the thing is that I've always been like if it's somebody that I know, like I can't listen to the music of a friend of mine because it just seems like that's I know him.
But Nick Vivid is really good.
Nick Vivid is the one exception where it's like, yeah, he's my friend, but at the same time, he's really fucking good.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's really very good.
So yeah, but yeah, with anyone that I would buy an album from, I would pay something because there's no incentive for making.
Nick is really doing great stuff.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Nick is freaking amazing. I love him.
I don't know. I mean, he is so skilled in many things. He's a big shot.
Yeah.
In many things.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And he is always so happy when I order from him.
Yes. Oh my God, yeah, he's the nicest, sweetest dude in the world. I can't say enough good things about Nick.
Wow. So glad to have him part of the team.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go. Furthermore, down the road, Microprose.
We're still on Microprose.
We talked to Charles Schut from Shoot Apps about Repterra.
Yeah, Repterra.
And he obviously decided to not self-publish it, despite he claimed it during our podcast interview, because he's now going to be published by Microprose.
So that puts Microprose in charge of both Dying Breed and Repterra.
Yes.
Both 2 RTS games.
Yes.
2 retro-styled RTS games.
Yes.
Simultaneously.
Exactly.
Okay. Are we going to see a crossover? Will we bring some dinosaurs into Dying Breed?
And
that would be the ultimate Dying Breed, dinosaurs.
And Repterra has sandworms like Dune coming out. Sandworms from Dune?
Yeah, I know what a sandworm from Dune is. I don't understand what that has to do with the Dying Breed.
Because it
Dying
has
Breed
zombies and
crossover.
stuff. Because it has zombies and stuff.
Yeah, but zombies aren't. Does Dune have zombies?
No.
What does Dune have to do with?
But it would be fitting, like dinosaurs went distinct because sandworms were eating them up.
Okay.
I'm just shitting with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, what? Where
so,
is this?
Looks like Microprose will not be known for simulation games or fighting games alone anymore, but also RTS games now.
Yeah.
Good
on you, Microprose.
So that's interesting that Charles decided to go with a big publisher now.
And I think they did sports games. Well, you got sports simulations too. That's the other thing I think of Microprose for.
Yeah, like I said, like Formula One, like Grand Prix. Yeah.
I guess that's sports. I was thinking like soccer and stuff.
Yeah, Microprose soccer was a big thing. That's true.
Uh-huh.
The banana kick.
Yeah, I got like what is it like fucking like Tim Van Barleycorn's Soccer Surprise or something by Microprose.
Wow.
I don't even remember what the hell it's called. It was called something else in a couple of different places.
CXMT and YMTC, the 2 Chinese memory manufacturers, were removed from the Pentagon's restricted companies list, opening door for Chinese DRAM and NAND adaptation for consumer products, which is a big thing, perhaps you heard, because of OpenAI and ChatGPT. The RAM prices, memory price, after all, skyrocketed to 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why my desktop PC didn't work for a week, because before I got my diarrhea 5 weeks ago, I snagged a new NVIDIA graphics card, a 5070 Ti, 16 gigabyte VRAM, just one day before they were all sold out worldwide, and I got them 56 euros above MSRP. So I was pretty lucky there. And it's also the maximum my 700 watts power supply can handle. So I should be good when it comes to PC gaming for the next foreseeable future.
How much memory is that exactly? Did you get?
16 gigabytes.
16 gigs. 16 gigs.
DDR7. GDDR7 memory. So the fast.
It's interesting how 16 gigs has really kind of been locked in as like the sweet spot. Like you can go higher, but nothing really requires it.
No. I'm talking about video RAM on the graphics card, not RAM for the PC.
Mm-hmm.
RAM I got 32.
Okay,
that is right now the sweet spot.
Is that this? Because I had 32 on my PC, but nothing I ever used ever needed 32, and I've got 16 on my Mac here, and it's been more than adequate since 2012.
16 is considered too little, and 8
really?
gigabyte VRAM is considered too little because
8 is too little. Yes, 8. I agree.
No. You are confusing RAM for the PC versus VRAM for the graphics card.
No, I understand what you're saying.
That's two different things.
Yes, I do understand what you're saying.
And NVIDIA and AMD stopped producing 16 gigabyte VRAM cards.
Okay.
They are not doing them anymore.
Oh.
Which means all the PC games since 2022, you can't go higher than full HD. So 4K monitors are useless because what happens is if you don't have enough VRAM, the game is using computer RAM, which is like 20 times slower than the
Yeah.
VRAM, and that's making games frame rate drop immensely.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no way. I got a 2K monitor, and I'm not going back to old sluggish resolutions
Yeah,
and
right.
minimum
Yeah.
details just because OpenAI decided to buy 60% of the worldwide NAND and DRAM capacity of the whole world.
We're so fucking cooked.
I know. And it's not only affecting PCs, right? And smartphones, but also TVs, dishwashers, washing machines.
Everything uses RAM. Everything is computerized and uses memory.
I know.
Every fucking
And
thing.
people don't understand that.
Cars.
People don't understand that. We are going backwards here.
Yeah. Cars, planes.
I know. Everything.
Yeah.
People don't
Every
understand
goddamn
that. People don't understand. Like, oh the PC market RAM shortage is not. It's not affecting me. It will.
Yeah.
It will. That also means if you have less RAM, TVs will get slower.
They've just put in a
stuff.
thing in the U.S. government too, which says that that AI companies are allowed to build their own nuclear power plants.
I know.
Because nothing says
it's so safe.
Yeah, nothing says this will work flawlessly like new technology companies.
Has there ever been a problem with such buildings? I've never heard of them.
Well, because it's never happened.
Right.
We've never had a company run a private nuclear generator.
And
because it's a terrible idea.
I mean, look at 2011 and Japan, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Or
fucking 3 Mile Island, or Chernobyl. Anything. There have been nuclear plants are very, very safe. I will give them that. But I don't think that private organizations such as OpenAI or whatever the fuck the company is should be operating their own.
I mean, Germany is a prime example. We shut them all down, and we still have electricity. Oh my god!
You don't have any nuclear plants?
Not that I know of. They're all shut down.
Oh,
or if not, I guess by 2030 or something. I don't know what the actual time plan is.
I mean, I've got one. I see it on my drive when I go between where I live in Maryland and New Jersey. There's one I think it's in Toms River, New Jersey. You can see the big old cooling towers there. They're generally pretty safe, and especially modern ones. They've got a lot of safeguards in there, but and they're way cleaner than than coal. Ultimately, all power plants just come down to boiling water. You're just making steam so you can turn some turbines. That's all it is.
Okay, it says in Germany since the 15th of April, 2023, 0 are still on the grid for commercial electricity.
Okay.
How you say generation?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay.
The only thing that still exists are for science. Science, reactors, nuclear reactors for science, and those are 6.
Huh.
But for commercial electricity production, generation, none of them are left. Though, as I said, we are the best example. Using all generative sources, it works.
Right, yeah.
So the last one was shut down April 15th, 2023.
Okay.
Yep. And the first one was built in 1961. So we had a total of 37 in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah, looks like it can work.
Oh, I see. Yeah. No, their nuclear plants are generally good and safe, but again, all
Until they
power,
are not.
all power plants come down to the same concept of boiling water to turn a turbine. That's what they all do. Whether it's coal or nuclear or whatever, it's like it's make heat, boil water into steam turns the turbine. Hydroelectric is uses like the motion of
Yeah.
a dam or something, water being flowing to turn those turbines, and wind uses the wind to turn the turbine, but it's all just turning a turbine. Yeah, so I mean it's I don't have a problem with nuclear plants. I have a problem with private entities that are worried about profit over everything else running them. And being like, hey, you know what? We have this Chat GPT fucking product. Let's have that run the plant for us.
And here's the funny thing, though. You probably, I don't know if you've heard of it, but there's this 12-volt high power connector that Nvidia invented like 2 years ago. Yeah. And it's actually starting to melt. And it's actually starting fires in people's PC. And Nvidia is like, no, people are using it wrong.
Yeah.
But the problem is the margins are so tight that if the plug is getting out of the jack for even a fraction of a millimeter, it's causing resistance, then it's heating up and causing uneven alignment of the 6 wires that are putting the amperes through it. And so, in order to operate my PC safe with the 5070 Ti, I actually had to buy the WireView 2 from Thermal Grizzly that's actively monitoring constantly if any of the wires is having overheating, and if that happens, it shuts down the PC instantly to avoid melting of the connectors.
Right.
It's such a shame that you have to invest in a monitoring device because somebody produced a shitty plug that isn't working right, and then say people, they are using it wrong. Just like Apple with the iPhone 4 and the antenna gate. You're holding it wrong. That's the
exactly.
problem.
Yeah, just hold it differently. Yeah.
Yeah. Shove it up your ass, and then you have better reception. Yeah. Anyway, back to the news.
Yeah.
Sony closes Bloodpoint games after less than 5 years of them taking it over. And it's a surprising close because it came unannounced. And yeah, that also means around 70 employees will lose their jobs. The problem was, since the creation in autumn 2021, the Texan development studio has not released its own game. So that means, they were involved in the development of God of War Ragnarok and other games, and primarily managed by Sony Santa Monica. And Well, that means now um, it's also the death of live service games. Yeah. So, bad luck. Seems to be a bad timing for the game industry right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not good.
No. I don't have anything to add to that.
Yeah. That would be all my news for now.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So let's get over and talk to Myrone.
Myrone.
Let's get over and talk to Myrone.
Myrone.
Myrona.
So, today we have another guest, and we are talking to Patrick Myrone Lukens.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So, you came into the picture, I think, for the first time for being the composer of the game Drift Stage that didn't, release so far.
Yeah.
In a full version. So, as we usually start with our guests, how did it happen that you got involved into games and music? What was your starting point early on?
For sure. Well, from a very young age, I always knew that I wanted to do music. Music's the one thing in my life that I feel somewhat competent at. So, as a kid growing up in the 90s and early 2000s somewhat, home console games are a big part of my life. So I as like a young musician, I was like, "Oh, these game soundtracks are pretty cool." And then of course, I went to school for music, and as I was kind of getting, established as like a pop producer, working with artists like SZA and stuff like that, I sort of came across what was the sort of like early iteration of Drift Stage on Tumblr. I kept seeing these gifs of these cars, and I was like, "Wow, that looks super cool. I wonder if I can make music for it." And I sent the guys that were making it my music. I said, "Hey, like this looks cool. If you need music, let me know." Um, and I wasn't really expecting them to get back to me. I was kind of at a point where, I was like hustling for any sort of like anything. Like I would spend a lot of my days, emailing artists or, emailing, music business people being like, "Hey, check out my music," et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I was kind of like reaching out to a lot.
So it was really the very early beginnings. You didn't have any footing yet.
Yeah, I had
Interesting.
nothing. And so they were into what I did, and I ended up creating all the music for the game. And then of course the game never came out, but that was kind of like, but through that experience, I was able to meet a lot of people in the video game industry, and that kind of led me to, do other stuff.
I mean, you have been at GameSpot in a video even.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw even Red Bull Racing made an article, and so you really got known there. And when I look at your Bandcamp, for example, I also see this is not your only project. You also made the soundtrack for Aero GPX.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So you got some footing there afterwards. Yeah. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was digging a bit about you, I'm not sure if it's true, but I saw somewhere that you are somewhat related to Hollywood, or your parents are. I don't know if that is actually true, but I saw you have an entry in the International Movie Database, for example.
Probably. My wife is a film producer and actress, and I help her out on stuff.
So it's actually your wife. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, what's my IMDb credit?
What do you mean? Your ID?
No,
Or
what's the credit that I have on IMDb?
boy, I don't really remember, but I know that you have a profile there,
Oh,
and
interesting.
yeah. So it was
I've
like,
I've done like kind of odd job, like I don't know if you've ever been involved with like a film shoot at all, but invariably,
not me, no.
okay, yeah, it just invariably they're always there's just it's like a lot of moving parts, and whenever my wife has these big projects, I try and help out a little bit.
That's
But
interesting.
also, I don't think this is on IMDb, but I was in the movie Rushmore for like a split second as a child,
Wow.
because they shot it at the school that I went to, and a lot of the people that went there were kind of like background actors or whatever. But it's
Uh-huh.
kind of funny. Like if you're watching the movie, there's like one random scene, you're like, oh, that's me.
Yeah. So I guess people who know you can find it somehow. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So yeah, I see. So it's interesting. Um. Yes, but is it is it more like a hobby, this music for games, or is that actually what you do for a living, or is other things in well, involving music more your bread and butter?
Um, games is not the only thing I do. I do a ton of, different stuff. Like right now I'm working on a lot of J-pop stuff.
Hmm.
Uh
Japanese.
yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah. Um like doing music as a career, there's lots of ups and downs. There's periods of time where I'm busy, and there's periods of time where there's kind of like nothing going on. So I try to just constantly keep as many plates spinning as possible. I would love to do more games, but I haven't quite found like the next project that makes sense and all that type of stuff. But I'm keeping busy doing my thing.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, when I was researching you, it's interesting because your name comes up in some communities for, the early 80s synth pop uh, gaming music, game soundtrack, along those names like Matt Gray, who did Last Ninja 2 on the C64, for example. And this is quite interesting because you are connected to a kind of game soundtrack music, but I mean, I barely remember anything from the 80s, and I was born 82, and at your age, you basically didn't experience the vibe at all, as you weren't even in the infancy at that time. So it's quite interesting because you normally have to like I don't know how to say in English, seasoned people, seasoned
Mhm.
composers connected to that kind of music, and not somebody at the age of 23. So this is quite interesting. Is that something that you aimed for, or did that just happen because you got involved into those retro looking games, or was that your plan from the beginning, or I don't know?
That's a good question. It's a couple of things.
Mm.
The first of which is, so I have older brothers. My oldest brother is 8 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started playing guitar, he played guitar first, and he had a guitar in his room, and I would kind of like go in and like look at it. I was like, "Ooh, like this is this is what's this? This is a really cool object. I want to know more." So eventually, I got my own guitar, and when I started playing, he was just like, "Here you go," and he just gave me the first Van Halen album on CD.
Okay.
And when I heard that, I was like, "That's it. This like I'm doing this. Whatever this is, I want to be a part of it." I didn't, and because of that. I would say growing up, I tended to listen to music that was like a little bit older than I guess what other people would listen to. And then the other half of it is I the types of kind of like game music that I would gravitate towards growing up, like especially stuff like F-Zero and things of that nature. I always thought as a kid, I was like, man, these game soundtracks are so cool. It would be awesome if, there were like real bands that sort of like played in the style. And then when I got to college, a buddy of mine was like, "Oh, have you heard of this band T Square and this other band Cassiopeia?" And I was like, "No." And he showed me some, and I was like, "Oh, this is like where video game music like comes from. It's like this is like the source material or whatever." So I got, super into that. And eventually, as I was pursuing music more and more as my career, I kind of got curious and thought, well, like what could I like try to make music in this style? And that's kind of how the Myrone project sort of happened.
It's interesting. Well, I mean, you call it music. When I was still living with my parents, my mother called it plip plop.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So okay, she didn't really like it when I was playing video game music. I mean, nowadays there's even a genre called video game music, VGM. So
Yeah, yeah.
so that's quite interesting. So your reference coming from the Super Nintendo.
That
Interesting.
was it's difficult to remember. The consoles that I remember my family having were, I think we had a regular Nintendo, and then we got the Super Nintendo. And then I remember when we got the N64, like we like gave away the Super Nintendo
Ah,
because we couldn't have two or whatever. And I remember that I remember like missing the games on Super Nintendo a little bit as we got N64. And then, as we grew up and, got more and more, we kind of had them all at different points in time. But
interesting.
yeah.
So, do you actually pursue those memories? Do you play those games sometimes, I don't know, on the online network of Nintendo, or, I don't know. I
I,
mean, nowadays you can emulate such stuff and
right. I
access them again,
I don't have a lot of time these days to actually like
Ooh.
play video games. Kind of like it's a problem that I'm like trying to actively solve. But yeah, like I have a Switch, and I've definitely like loaded up the virtual game, like the emulators on there. I keep looking at like I keep getting in these like headspaces where I say to myself, "Oh, I should get one of those like analog pocket like the Game Boy things, and like have like a backlit Game Boy or whatever." Because I still have I have a Game Boy and like a couple old games that like sometimes if I have like a free like couple minutes or whatever, I can like just like load up some Game Boy and play real quick and get back to doing whatever I'm doing. But yeah, not a ton of time for gaming these
Interesting.
days.
So
Yeah.
it sounds like you're living on a fast lane. I mean, being married as your age, being extremely busy.
No,
It's
and
like,
I have a kid too, so yeah,
wow,
I'm on dad time too. So
wow.
yeah,
You're really taking it on quick.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow, it's interesting. I mean, why not? It's never. Well, I would say probably it's wrong to say it's never too early, but I don't know. I don't know, why not? It's quite unique, to have such a vast life experience at that age. But why not? Why not? Um, yes. So let me ask you. So you mentioned F-Zero. So did you actually? I mean, Super Nintendo time was more like 92, 93. So did you have a look at earlier game periods, even from that time? I don't know, Commodore 64, Amiga, maybe,
I
or not even that.
I have like a little sliver of a memory of my family having the track and field pad
Ah,
for
interesting.
for regular Nintendo, like that big kind of like, I don't know if it was like plastic or what, but it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like that kind of weird material, and you would like kind of stomp on it to make the guys run and jump or whatever.
Those when you see those things on eBay, they are in a rough shape nowadays.
Yeah. Years of people jumping on them, and I think also I think we had the light gun for duck hunt as
the
well.
sap the sapper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting, interesting. So you really got an influence from there, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. So I wonder, do you also play other instruments, or is it just the guitar?
Guitar, guitar and piano are kind of like my two main things that I feel comfortable and competent on.
Huh.
You know, I kind of play a little bit of everything else. Like I play a lot of bass. I can play really basic stuff on the drums,
Mhm.
but usually like in my music, I'm like programming the drums, or a lot of times I'll just like hire one of my friends to play. I'm like lucky enough to know some of the best drummers on planet Earth. So if I really need something special, I can text one of them and they'll give me what I need. But yeah, I wish I was more competent at like other instruments. But you know, with piano and guitar, I cover a lot of bases. It's enough for where I can sit in my studio and just make stuff all day. So
I'm not sure if there are any videos of you sitting on a piano though, because when I made some research before this interview, I only saw you jamming the guitar. To be
yeah, I
honest.
mean, guitar is my favorite by far, but, you know, I mean, like, we're in my studio now and, like,
Ah,
there's my
interesting.
little
Ah,
keyboard setup.
there you go. There you
Yeah.
go. So how do you go about making the music? I mean, this. I mean, let's take the soundtrack of Drift Stage for example, or I don't know. Do you say Aero GPX?
Aero
Is
GPX, yes.
okay. So how do you go about those? Do you have some pieces laying around that you stitch together, or take some inspiration from, or
Yeah, well,
are you starting
you
from
yeah,
scratch, or
yeah, so usually my process for something like Aero GPX or Drip Stage where, with those games, I'm definitely trying to do songs that have, like, a really identifiable melody that's, like, catchy all the way through. So, usually the way I write those is I tend to write them on piano or keyboards or something, and, what I'll do is, like, I call it making a skeleton. I'll, like, go through and I'll kind of, like, on a keyboard, like, really super rough, I'll go through and I'll try to just, like, write, like, a song form, just, like, piano, maybe I'll do, like, a drum beat, but it's usually, like, unlistenable when I'm finished with it, and I'll do that, and then once I get, like, the form and the skeleton of the song done, I'll go back and I add, like, the meat, so to speak. I'll, like, add more instruments, add guitars, bass, but typically, I enjoy especially, like, the melodies, I like writing those on piano versus on guitar because I'm so familiar with guitar, and it's kind of like it's an instrument that I play compulsively, and I'll play it, like, unconsciously, so I'll just kinda let my hands do what they want, and when you're writing, that can be problematic because you'll end up kinda just doing the same stuff all the time, So when I'm writing on piano, I'm not as, comfortable on piano, and so I really have to, like, focus and think and write, like, a good melody first rather than something that, like, feels good under my hands. And I always feel like I come up with stuff that I wouldn't normally play on guitar that way, so it keeps it fresh and engaging for me, and then also hopefully the listener as well.
So you need to concentrate more where to place your fingers and what keys to press.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Okay.
also when if I'm doing piano and I'm just recording the MIDI, I can go back and I can edit the MIDI and, just, like, try different stuff that I maybe necessarily wouldn't have tried on guitar.
But here's the thing though. Aren't there modern guitars that also have a MIDI interface?
Yeah, like I have a guitar with a MIDI pickup and all that
Okay.
sort of stuff, but they don't work, they're not, like, perfect. They don't work
Really?
super well.
Really?
Yeah, they trigger lots of, what's called ghost notes, like, so you have to kinda go in and, like, clean it up. So it's just
Because you are pulling the strings, strafing the strings, and this time this way you get ghost notes because
yeah, it'll
you
trigger, like,
touched a different string that you weren't supposed to or something.
yeah, yeah, I mean, that's the thing
Interesting.
about guitar. The guitar is like a very imprecise instrument, if that makes sense. It's not
Sure,
it's not
sure.
it's not binary like a piano is. Piano is like note
Right.
on, note off.
True. True.
Guitar, like there's all these kind of micro movements and like weird stuff with the guitar, which makes it awesome, but it also makes it hard for you to like transcribe music on a guitar. Like it's just quicker on a keyboard for me.
Of
And
course.
I
Yeah.
I like playing piano, so uh that's
Yeah.
also fun too.
I mean, I'm a tech guy. I have no idea about music, so music
Yeah.
instruments. Though that is why I never thought about that.
Oh, yeah,
Ghost
yeah, yeah.
inputs or something.
Yeah.
For me, it's like MIDI is MIDI.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I see. Um, and you would think with AI nowadays that there would be a functionality where it detects the ghost notes and automatically,
I mean,
perhaps.
maybe. I haven't really heard of anything, but there's probably somebody working on something where, like, you can clean up the ghost notes or something, but, I tend to use the guitar MIDI stuff in a slightly, like, different way, if that makes sense.
In
Um,
which way?
just I just it'll be tough to explain without being extremely technical, but basically.
Try me.
Okay. So, the way a MIDI pickup on a guitar works is usually, a regular guitar pickup has just one output. It's like, it's recording. It's basically like seeing all of the strings at the same time and then like outputting that to a single cable. A MIDI pickup has 6 pickups, one for each string, and it actually outputs 6 different outputs. So what I do is I have devices that instead of taking those 6 outputs and trying to convert them to MIDI, I have boxes that just process the individual 6 outputs. So I can put like, different amounts of distortion on each string, or I can pan the strings to like different speakers, or I can change the tuning of different strings and all that type of stuff. And you just kind of get, these different sounds that like a regular guitar doesn't make.
That sounds like a synthesizer to me.
Yeah, it is. It basically is a synthesizer. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. So it's very different. And now I wonder, as you said, you had the NES, the Super NES, the Nintendo 64. Did you ever think or plan to make a soundtrack on those retro consoles? I mean,
Oh,
nowadays you even have composing tools for those old machines. You don't need to know machine language anymore.
yeah. I've thought about it. I think it could be like a fun exercise to make like an NES style game or a Game Boy game or maybe even a Super Nintendo game. I actually really enjoy the I don't know the technical term for it, but I kind of enjoy like the way that the Super Nintendo makes music. Like I think the way it works is like the Super Nintendo has like a little sampler and there's like
Yeah,
little,
it's a polytronic, not really frequency sorry, not really frequency modulation
yeah,
synthesis. It's a
yeah. Um
polytronic, like those polytronic ringtones the
right.
90s mobile phones had, or as I say in America, cellular phones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um I so people make what's called sound fonts out of like the old Super Nintendo things, and I can load those in my music software, and I've done that a couple times, like using like I think on one of the Drift Stage songs, I used parts of like the Pilot Wings sound font, like on certain sounds. Um, yeah, I think that's like a fun like sound set to dip into every once in a while.
I mean, nowadays, with so many companies being successful on retro platforms, you can really work on commercial new, I don't know, Sega Genesis games,
Yeah,
or
I know it's incredible what people
it's,
are doing.
I
And
mean,
it's I think stuff like that is good because um you want you want people to make new stuff for old systems so people have motivation to kind of maintain the old systems because if you know, I mean, this is like a very extreme example, but if we live in a world where people just stop using the NES or Super Nintendo, then people are not like preserving the history of old games, and you know, like these objects are kind of like historical objects, and it would be a shame for people not to experience the art, the music, the stories of all this old stuff because you know the systems are obsolete or something like that.
hmm. Well, I mean, there are some tech people who said that, I don't know, like in 30 years we will only have the power supplies left because the PCBs are um, disintegrating,
Oh no.
because the chemicals and so on are, falling apart, and then it's not repairable anymore. So it looks it looks like from degradation at some point we won't have those original machines anymore.
Right, right, right.
So it might happen. So I guess perhaps the future is the FPGA based, or software emulated based new consoles that, I mean, you mentioned the Game Boy Pocket. No, what was it again?
There's this company called Analog.
Analog Pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
Analog Pocket. Exactly. Analog Pocket. Yeah. So that might be the future. But the problem here is analog is super expensive,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's like order now or never get a unit in the first place.
Yeah,
So it's like,
that's what keeps happening to me. I keep wanting to get one, and then I forget that like when they go on sale, or I find out like way after the fact, and yeah, it's a bummer. I just want it to I want one to be readily available.
yeah, that they are really playing on scarcity. It's incredible. And if you
Yeah.
go on eBay, it's like $1,000 for a unit. I'm like, no
Yeah,
man,
like
no way, no way.
I like video games, but I don't know if I like them that much, you know?
Yeah. I need a second job just to to buy from the scalpers.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's quite. Your thoughts are quite deep on that. It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. So so you mentioned J-pop. You mentioned that you did some stuff with your wife in the film industry.
Mhm.
So what else are you doing? I mean, if you can talk about it, you
Yeah,
don't have
for
to,
sure.
you don't have to spill your secrets, of course.
No, hey, it's all good. Right now, I am actually finishing up. I have like a ton of unreleased, just Myrone music.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And so I am kind of preparing all of that stuff for release, like doing like the final mixes and getting the cover art together and all that stuff and figuring out how to release it. Um, I'm working on a guitar plugin for like music software.
Mhm.
Um, I am I do a project. I have this metal band that I do with Chris Adler and Girish Pradhan. Um, that we put out an album last year, and I've been texting with Chris and trying to figure out like what the next move is. And what else? What else am I doing? And other than that, like there's I get kind of like these like odd jobs every week of people send me stuff to play guitar on, or sometimes I'll get like a pitch to do music for like a commercial or something like that. Every week's different, but I just try to stay busy or whatever.
Interesting. Now let me ask you, because we mentioned it a couple of times. Your no name was originally Huge Myrone. So,
Oh, Hugh Myrone? Yeah,
or you
so
Myrone.
yeah,
That's it.
so
So why did you drop that, and how did you come up with it in the first place?
yeah, for sure.
There must be a story behind it,
Yes.
right?
Um Basically what happened was when I started doing my own, like when I started making the music, I was producing and writing for artists under my real name.
Mm.
And at the time, like I had just like sort of accidentally I was just in the right studio at the right time. I got a production credit for this artist named SZA, who's, now a huge global like R&B star or whatever. And because of that, I kept getting kind of thrown in these like pop R&B type sessions, and I just as like kind of like a nerdy guitar guy, I wanted to make nerdy guitar music, and I started making it. And my manager at the time said, "I don't know what this is, but it's amazing and you should keep doing it. Maybe you should, like release it under like a different name or something like that." So I came up with this alias, Hugh Myrone, set up an email account, and I just kind of started releasing music like as this guy or whatever, just so when I was doing like my government name work, what I didn't want to happen is like get pitched for all these like sessions, like, oh, like he produced SZA or whatever. And then people Google my name and like all this crazy like guitar music comes up. Like that was just going to be confusing for people, especially because it was early in my career and I was kind of like fighting to get in rooms and all this stuff. So I came up with this alias, and then as my own stuff kind of like took off, it kind of became this thing where I was like, uh-oh, like people are starting to call me Hugh and all this kind of crazy stuff. So I've kind of stopped using like Hugh, and I just had like the project be called Myrone or whatever. Uh and yeah, I've kind of like slow, like I used to, as you saw in like the GameSpot video, like I used to perform like in a mask, and I try to like,
I know, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
which was fun, but also like I, those like performing in glasses and the mask like all the time, like I hated it. Like I didn't like stuff on my face while I was like performing and stuff. So yeah, eventually I kind of just like stopped doing it like anonymously, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Interesting. So people mistakenly thought it's your your name actually
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes.
which is pretty funny. There's still people like I remember I met I got booked to play this festival called MagWest, which is like I guess they do MagFest on like the east and west coasts or whatever. It's like a video game music festival here. and someone came up to me and they're like, Hugh, and I was like, like looking around, like I was like, no. And then I was like, oh yeah, I was like, oh wait, yeah, like people know me.
Yeah.
Try to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
run back and track them down. Like, oh yeah, it's me. Sorry. But now like I think I don't really like keep my like real name like that much of a secret. I don't it, I don't go I don't like tell people my like real name like like on all the my projects like I just have it be Myrone and I try to have it be like a little mysterious, but like I'm definitely not like I used to just email people as Hugh Myrone and people would know me for as Hugh for years, and then I would meet them in person. I'd be like, "Just please call me Pat." Like, it's
Okay.
yeah,
Interesting. I mean, you have an incredible journey there. It's interesting. S- So your plan is, as I said at the beginning, you didn't find the fitting next gaming projects.
yeah. I've been a lot of the way I find video game work is I'll be on Twitter or whatever, and I'll see stuff and I'll reach out, but
Hmm.
it's one of those things where I might reach out to a project and they're interested, but then um maybe maybe the scope of the game is not uh something where they're like on a timetable that I can it's complicated because some people are doing this like for fun and it takes them like 7 or 8 years, and uh some people like have been working on their games for years and they already have music, and then so it's complicated. It really does take like the right fit. Um
Hmm.
and yeah, I haven't really come across a game where it's like made sense. I've talked to a couple different people and there's a couple of projects that have caught my eye, but it's just, it takes a lot. Uh it takes a lot of time and a lot of people can throw together like a really cool like demo of a game, but finishing it is super hard, as you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I interviewed some indie developers in the past for the podcast, and they told me that a lot of musicians were actually writing to them, and they offered their music for free
Yeah,
because they are so desperate.
I well, I wish people wouldn't do that because that number one, everybody should be compensated for their work, you know? And when people uh when people do that, when they offer their music for free, it means that like people like the people that are more established than me, like the Grant Kirkhopes of the world or the Dale Norths or people like that, that means those people have to work for less and less and less. And you don't want that. You want the people that are at the top of their game to get paid what they're worth so they can do a good job on whatever game, you don't want people like phoning it in on the game soundtrack.
Mm.
So, but like also
Mhm.
I relate to the guys and girls that are they're starting out and trying to get their foot in the door and all that stuff. But you know, I would say like please like try and get paid. you know, try and get
It's
paid so
true. Yeah,
you
it's
can pay
true.
your rent or whatever. Um, or work with people who like try to find people like that are local to you and work with them, like get in on the ground floor with them, uh and like develop that relationship where like you're working with somebody on the ground floor and building it up from there. But yeah, it's just tough. Yeah, it makes it hard when people are like, oh, I'll do it for free. And even like regular music has this problem too, where like there's all these like, aspiring producers. They like want placements so bad that like I've heard of people like paying to get like their beats placed on hip hop artists' albums and stuff like that.
Mm.
And it's just like it messes up the money for everybody else kind of when people do that.
I
It's
mean,
not.
we are in a time where Spotify is giving cents per
Yeah,
played title, so
yeah.
it's really
It's
hard
tough. I
to
mean,
make an income.
it's tough. Like making music is every day it gets easier. Like you can go on Suno and type in a paragraph and spit out a song, and there's
Yeah, but the question is AI music really creative? I'm not sure.
I kind of have like pretty like agnostic feelings about it. Like I'm not. I wouldn't say that I don't think that I'm like smart enough to debate like the philosophical nature of whether it's like good or bad, whether it's creative or not, or anything like that. I just personally, I don't think it's like that fun, like I have a studio full of like instruments and stuff like that. And to me, personally, it's just more fun for me to like sit there and like do stuff the quote unquote like hard way, which is hilarious because I'm not doing music the hard way. Like I'm not recording the tape. I'm not like, like, I'm using the computer. Like I'm to like ease my process or whatever. But yeah, I at the moment, creating something with Suno doesn't really like offer you the sort of like granular control. Like, when you make something in Suno, you can't sit there and be like, oh, okay, well, I want to move this snare drum back like 20
True,
milliseconds or
true,
stuff like that.
true.
Which, some people don't like doing, but I do. So
Yeah.
it's not really currently like part of my process. But that being said, like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, I've been in sessions where like people like whip it out, and I'm kind of like, I
I
don't know
opened
how to
the
do
SHA
this.
there. I see. Yeah, yeah. I mean, with everything going on, with the memory crisis and so on, perhaps AI will burst like a bubble.
I think
We'll see.
so. Like, one thing that I think about a lot is when the automobile was first invented in the in the turn of the century. I think the statistic is like when like in the first 10 years of cars or something, there were like 5,000 different brands. Cause like everybody was like, this is the next thing. I'm starting a car company. This is like, and we're like, we're going to the moon or whatever. Now I think globally there may be like, I don't know, like 20 or so car brands. So like, like we're just in this place where, AI is like it or not, like I think AI is, there are parts of it that are going to stick around. But it definitely is one of these kind of like bubble moments where like everybody is like trying to like figure out their like little AI hustle, and there's stuff that's gonna work, and then there's stuff that like we'll laugh about in 5 years or whatever.
The problem is there that AI is not very reliable in their results, but it's very convinced it is. So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh yes, you are totally right. I made a mistake there.
yeah,
Let
yeah,
me
yeah,
correct that. And then
yeah,
it's like, it's still wrong.
yeah,
Like, oh yes, I made a mistake again. I'm so sorry.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh, it's I don't know. And in the end, you spend so much time fixing the result that you wonder, wouldn't it have been faster and quicker making it without AI in the first place?
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I think there are some things that like I think the problem is is the people that make the AIs are telling everybody they're good for everything. You should use it, because like that's because they want that to happen. But I think it's just like anything else. There's things that it's good at, and there's things that it sucks at, and I think everybody's kind of figuring out like where it makes sense and where it doesn't.
Yeah, you would think so. But then I had some math calculation when I did my taxes. I was like, that can't be right.
Right? Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's weird because who can better calculate than a computer?
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. It's really strange.
Yeah. It's a bizarre time for sure.
And I mean, and then you have AI with speech synthesis, and then they're like, now we can even breathe while we are talking and sound like a human because we are breathing in and out
Yeah.
when we talk in a way.
Yeah. When people tell me like, oh, I was just talking to Chat GPT, and I'm like, please just call me instead. Please
Yeah,
don't be talking to that thing.
and then I wonder if you spend so much resources on making an AI voice sounding believable, perhaps you should spend it more on accuracy,
Yeah,
But
for sure.
but especially your generation is using ChatGPT and the Copilot and all the others as a replacement for search engines.
Yeah. Yeah.
No
think-
more Googling,
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with like just how bad search engines have gotten. I've definitely have experienced a couple times where like, especially if I'm trying to find like a specific like video of something, there've been a couple times where I've had like it like stinks, but I'll like ask ChatGPT like, okay, there's a video of it's a guy, he's like ranting in his car and he's talking about this. Like, can you find it? And they'll be like, oh yeah, it's this guy. And then if you try to do it on Google, it's just impossible.
Totally different.
Yeah.
I mean, even Google changed that. Now the first on the search results page is a Gemini AI summary.
Oh, yeah, I hate it.
And like, okay, that's not what I wanted, but thank you.
Yeah.
So even they are transitioning to AI,
Mhm.
So it's AI ads, and down the page is the actual search result.
Yeah.
And like, okay, so
Yeah.
yeah. This is how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, so let me ask you, because I mean, we refer to Bandcamp and YouTube and stuff. Do you actually also do physical productions? Are you one of those vinyl and CD guys?
I have done physical releases in the past. For Drift Stage, we did a couple of picture discs where like the vinyl was shaped like a car.
Ah, interesting.
And then for the metal project that I do, the album that we released last year is available on vinyl and stuff. Which I like. I have a record player at home, and I don't have like a huge vinyl collection, but I do enjoy purchasing vinyl. And I like vinyl because if the internet gets unplugged, or I lose all my hard drives or whatever, like at least I have like a physical object with
True.
something I did on it, where I can
True.
if the aliens come down after shutting off all the electronics, I can be like, I do music, here it is, it's on this disc.
So let's hope no Twister is coming and
Yeah,
destroying your home or
exactly.
something. That's the downside of it,
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually the reason why I decided when I move, I want to live in a location where there's no floodings or whatever. Because losing everything I own, that would really mentally destroy me.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. Some things are really irreplaceable, I think,
Mhm.
So, yeah. Interesting. So, we almost cut an hour already. A lot of things to learn about you. Interesting. All right. Hey. So, is there anything I missed? I wonder.
I don't think so. I think we
Got it covered pretty much.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time.